I stopped by Cassie's boutique at 12:47 p.m. on a Thursday. I remember the exact time because I'd glanced at my watch while balancing the warm containers of roast beef sandwiches I'd made that morning, Cassie's favorite. The same recipe I'd been making for her since she was 7 years old, back when her biggest worry was whether she'd get picked for the school play. Before we continue, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to see how far our stories are reaching. The October wind in Toledo carried that crisp edge that meant winter was coming. I'd wrapped a blue scarf around my neck, the one Robert bought me 3 Christmases ago, just months before the heart attack took him. I pushed open the glass door of Cassie's closet with my hip, careful not to drop the lunch bag. The bell chimed. Emma, the young employee with the nose ring and anxious eyes, looked up from the register. Her face went pale. "Mrs. Langford," she said, her voice cracking. "You can't be here right now." I smiled, confused. "I just brought lunch for Cassie. Is she in the back?" Emma's hands fluttered like trapped birds. "You need to go, please. Just go." Before I could respond, I heard Cassie's laugh. That specific laugh she only used when she wanted something. I'd heard it 1,000 times growing up, usually right before she asked for money or a favor. My stomach tightened. I didn't leave. Instead, I stepped toward the vintage mirror display near the dressing rooms. The antique mirror, the one Cassie had paid $800 for last spring, had a perfect angle. Through it, I could see straight into her office without being seen. That's when I saw him. Marcus Holbrook, my ex-husband, the man who walked out 15 years ago claiming I'd chosen my nursing career over our marriage. The man who told our daughter I was cold and selfish. The man who supposedly moved to Denver and never looked back. He was standing in Cassie's office, wearing the same Seiko watch I'd given him on our 25th wedding anniversary. I recognized the scratch on the crystal face, a thin line that caught the light. My hand started shaking. Marcus handed Cassie a thick manila envelope. Even from the mirror's reflection, I could see it was stuffed with cash. $100 bills, from what I could make out. "Thanks, Dad," Cassie said, taking the envelope. She counted it quickly, her fingers moving like a bank teller's. "This is perfect. Mom will never know about the Toledo." The word hit me like cold water. Toledo, the land, Robert's land. The 3 acres in North Toledo that Robert left me in his will. The land where I'd planned to build something meaningful, maybe a small community garden or a grief support center. Something to honor his memory, something to prove that his life mattered. Marcus put his hand on Cassie's shoulder. "Your mother's too trusting. She always has been. By next week, we'll have everything transferred, and she won't be able to do a damn thing about it." Cassie laughed again, that same hollow laugh. She's been so focused on Tyler's college applications, she hasn't even checked her bank statements in months. It's almost too easy. I stood frozen behind the mirror display, still holding the sandwich containers. The roast beef smell suddenly made me nauseous. My vision blurred at the edges. Emma appeared beside me, whispering urgently, "Mrs. Langford, please, you shouldn't be hearing this." But I couldn't move. I watched Marcus lean against Cassie's desk, his posture relaxed, confident, like he owned the place, like he owned my daughter. "The Torino's worth what? $300 to $40,000? Marcus asked. "At least," Cassie replied. "Maybe more if we wait another 6 months, but I need the money now. The boutique's barely breaking even, and I've got suppliers threatening to cut me off." My mind raced. $300 to $40,000. Robert's land. The land I owned free and clear. How could they possibly sell it? "Once we close the deal with the developer," Marcus continued, "we split it 60-40. You get the bigger cut since you did the paperwork." Paperwork? What paperwork? I set the sandwich containers down on a display table, my hands trembling so badly I nearly dropped them. I fumbled for my purse, digging past my reading glasses and wallet until I found what I was looking for. The small zippered pocket. The one where I kept important documents when I traveled. My fingers touched paper, and I pulled out a folded bank statement. I'd picked it up 3 days ago from the mailbox, but hadn't opened it yet. I usually reviewed them on Sunday mornings with my coffee. I unfolded it right there, standing behind the mirror while my daughter and ex-husband plotted in the next room. The routing numbers blurred together until I found the joint account. The emergency account I'd set up years ago with Cassie's name on it. Just in case something happened to me. Just in case she ever needed help. The balance should have been $14,200. It showed $5,500. My throat closed. I scanned the transaction list. 3 days ago. October 15th. Withdrawal. $8,700. Authorized by Cassandra M. Langford. The paper crumpled in my fist. $8,700. Gone. I looked back through the mirror. Cassie was laughing at something Marcus said. She looked so much like him in that moment. The same sharp cheekbones. The same way of tilting her head when she thought she was being clever. I thought about all the double shifts I'd worked when she was in college. The 60-hour weeks at Toledo Memorial Hospital. My feet swollen in those white orthopedic shoes. My back aching. I'd paid off $87,000 in student loans so she could graduate debt-free and open this boutique. I thought about Marcus. How he'd demanded I quit nursing to take care of his dying mother. How he'd called me selfish when I refused because we needed my income to survive. How he'd packed his bags and left on a Tuesday morning, telling Cassie I'd destroyed our family. And now they were here. Together. Stealing from me. Emma touched my elbow gently. "Mrs. Langford, you're scaring me. Are you okay?" I wasn't okay. I would never be okay again. But I carefully folded the bank statement, put it back in my purse, and picked up the sandwich containers. I walked out of Cassie's closet without saying a word. The bell chimed behind me like a warning I should have heard months ago. In my car, I sat in the driver's seat and stared at the steering wheel. My phone buzzed. A text from Cassie. "Hey, Mom. Sorry I missed you. Emma said you stopped by. Rain check on lunch? Love you." I read it 3 times. Each word felt like a knife. Love you. I opened my purse again and looked at the bank statement one more time. The withdrawal date. October 15th, 2024. Exactly 3 days before Marcus handed her that envelope full of cash. My daughter hadn't just taken my money. She'd taken it to give to the man who abandoned us. And somehow, together, they were planning to take Robert's land. I didn't go home after leaving the boutique. I drove to the Toledo Public Library on Monroe Street and sat in the parking lot for 43 minutes, staring at nothing. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. The bank statement sat on the passenger seat like evidence at a crime scene. $8,700. 3 days ago. While I was buying Tyler new shoes for his college interviews, my daughter was draining our emergency account. I needed answers. But I couldn't confront Cassie directly. Not yet. Not until I understood exactly what I was dealing with. That's when I remembered Emma. The girl with the nose ring. The way her face had gone white when I walked in. The panic in her voice. Emma knew something. I waited until 6:15 p.m., when the boutique closed. I watched from across the street as Cassie locked the door and drove away in her white Lexus, the one I'd co-signed the loan for 2 years ago. Another debt I'd helped her carry. Emma came out 5 minutes later, walking toward the bus stop on Summit Street. I pulled up beside her. "Emma," I called through the open window. "Can we talk?" She froze, her backpack slipping off her shoulder. "Mrs. Langford, I can't. Cassie said if I talked to you—" "Please," I interrupted. "Just 5 minutes. I'll drive you home." She looked around like someone might be watching. Finally, she got in the car. She smelled like the lavender perfume samples from the boutique. She wouldn't look at me. I drove to a Starbucks parking lot 3 blocks away and turned off the engine. "You tried to warn me today," I said quietly. "Why?" Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Because you're nice. You always bring lunch for Cassie and you ask about my classes, and last month you gave me a $50 tip just for helping you pick out Tyler's birthday present." Her voice cracked. "You don't deserve what they're doing." My stomach dropped. "What exactly are they doing, Emma?" She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "Your ex-husband, Marcus. He comes to the boutique every Wednesday at 1 p.m. He's been doing it for 8 months. 8 months. I'd been a widow for 3 years, and Marcus had been back in Toledo for 8 months. "What do they do?" I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted to know. "They meet in Cassie's office, sometimes for an hour, sometimes longer. They go through papers. Marcus brings envelopes. Emma pulled at a thread on her jeans. Last month I heard them talking about some land. Cassie said you didn't check your bank accounts very often. Marcus laughed and said you'd always been too trusting. The words hit me like physical blows. Too trusting. The same thing Marcus used to say when we were married, right before he'd spend our rent money on poker games. Does Tyler know? I asked. About Marcus? Emma's silence told me everything. Emma, does my grandson know his grandfather is back? She nodded slowly. Tyler came to the boutique about 2 months ago. He walked in on them. Cassie made him promise not to tell you. She said. Emma's voice dropped to a whisper. She said you'd ruin everything, just like you did before. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. Tyler knew. My 18-year-old grandson, who I'd raised half his childhood while Cassie built her business. The boy I'd helped with homework and driven to soccer practice. He knew Marcus was back, and he'd said nothing. There's something else, Emma said. Marcus owes money. A lot of money. I heard him on the phone once outside the boutique. He was talking to someone about gambling debts. He said he needed $240,000 by December or they'd... She stopped. Or they'd what? He didn't say exactly, but he sounded scared, really scared. $240,000. Marcus's old addiction, the one that destroyed our marriage, was back. And somehow, my daughter was helping him. I drove Emma home and gave her $100 for her honesty. She tried to refuse it, but I insisted. You did the right thing, I told her. Thank you. Back in my car, I sat in Emma's driveway and called Tyler. It went straight to voicemail. I tried again. Same thing. I drove to Cassie's house on Berkeley Avenue, the house I'd helped with the down payment. Tyler's car, the used Honda I'd bought him for his 17th birthday, was parked in the driveway. I knocked. No answer. I could see lights on inside. I knocked again, harder. Tyler opened the door. He looked terrible, dark circles under his eyes. His Ohio State hoodie wrinkled like he'd slept in it. Grandma, he said, his voice flat. This isn't a good time. We need to talk about your grandfather. His face went pale. I don't know what you're talking about. Marcus is back in Toledo. He's been meeting with your mother every Wednesday for 8 months. You know about it, Tyler. Don't lie to me. For a moment, I thought he might deny it again. Instead, his shoulders sagged. Mom's inside. You should go. Tyler. Please, Grandma. Just go. He closed the door in my face. I stood there for a full minute, staring at the door. At the brass knocker shaped like a sunflower that I'd given Cassie for her housewarming. At the doormat that read, Welcome, in curling script. I got back in my car and drove home to my apartment on Maplewood Avenue. The same apartment Cassie had wanted me to hand over to her and that lawyer boyfriend of hers 3 years ago, right before Robert died. It was 9:47 p.m. I made chamomile tea I didn't drink and sat at my kitchen table with my laptop. I opened my bank account and started going through statements. 6 months, 9 months, a year, small withdrawals. $300 here, $500 there, $200 in March. Always from the joint account. Always authorized by Cassandra M. Langford. I added them up 3 times to make sure I wasn't making a mistake. $800 total. She'd been stealing from me for over a year. My phone buzzed. A text from Tyler. I'm sorry. That was it. Just 2 words. No explanation. No call. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I opened my photos and scrolled back 2 years to Tyler's 16th birthday party. There he was, wearing the watch I'd given him, his arm around me, both of us grinning. The caption read, Best Grandma Ever, Best Grandma Ever. I set the phone down and went to my bedroom closet. On the top shelf, behind old photo albums and Robert's winter coats, I found what I was looking for. Tyler's old phone. The iPhone 7 he'd cracked last year. I'd kept it meaning to get it fixed, then forgot about it. I plugged it in. After 15 minutes, it powered on. I navigated to his email. He'd never logged out. I knew his password, the same one he'd been using since middle school. OSU 2025. His dream school. I went to the deleted folder. There were 3 emails, all addressed to my email address. all deleted before they were sent. The first one, dated 6 weeks ago. Grandma, I need to tell you something about Mom and Grandpa Marcus. Please call me. Don't tell Mom I wrote this. Tyler. The second one, dated 4 weeks ago. Grandma, I tried to call but you didn't answer. Mom is doing something bad with Grandpa Marcus. It's about your land. The one Uncle Robert left you. Please, we need to talk. I'm scared. Tyler. The third one, dated 2 weeks ago. Grandma, I can't send this. Mom checks my phone. If you're reading this somehow, I'm sorry. I tried to warn you. I love you. Tyler. I read them over and over until the screen blurred. He'd tried to warn me 3 times, and Cassie had stopped him every time. My phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't Tyler. It was a text from an unknown number. I opened it. It was a screenshot. A text conversation between Cassie and Marcus from this afternoon, taken from someone else's phone. Emma's, I realized. Cassie, Mom came to the boutique today. I think she suspects something. Marcus, did she see me? Cassie, I don't know. Emma acted weird. I'm going to fire her tomorrow. Marcus, we need to move faster. The developer wants an answer by next week. Can you get the deed signed by Friday? Cassie, I'll figure it out. Mom trusts me. She always has. Marcus, good. Once we sell that land for $340K, I'm square with my debts and you get your cut. Then we never have to deal with her again? Cassie, can't wait. She's been suffocating me my whole life. This is payback. The last message was sent at 6:03 p.m., right after I'd left Emma. I sat at my kitchen table until midnight, reading those messages, reading Tyler's deleted emails, looking at the bank statements. My daughter hated me. My grandson had tried to save me but couldn't, and my ex-husband was using both of them to steal the last thing Robert left me. I thought about calling the police, but what would I say? That my daughter withdrew money from a joint account she was legally entitled to access? That my ex-husband was visiting his daughter? I needed more. I needed proof of the forgery Marcus had mentioned. Proof of whatever paperwork they'd created to steal Robert's land. I looked at my phone one more time. Another text from Tyler, sent at 11:47 p.m. Grandma, Mom doesn't know I'm texting. She's planning something bad. She showed me papers today. Your signature was on them, but it didn't look right. She said you signed them, but I know you didn't. Please be careful. I love you. I typed back, I love you too, sweetheart. Don't worry. Grandma's going to fix this. I hit send, but the message failed. He'd already turned off his phone. I sat in the dark and thought about everything I'd sacrificed. The double shifts, the missed holidays, the student loans, the co-signed car loan, the down payment on Cassie's house. And this was how it ended, with my daughter calling me suffocating, with my ex-husband laughing about how trusting I was. I wasn't going to call the police. Not yet. I was going to do something better. I didn't sleep. At 3:47 a.m., I made coffee. I didn't drink. Thinking about Tyler's deleted emails. I'm scared. 18 years old and scared of his own mother. My phone rang at 8:23 a.m. Cassie. Mom, I was thinking we should have dinner tonight. You, me, and Tyler. It's been too long. She wanted something. I could hear it in the forced cheerfulness. Tonight's not good. Mom, please. Tyler really misses you. The lie sat heavy between us. Tyler had tried to warn me, and she'd stopped him. What time? 6:30? I'll make pot roast. Fine. I spent the day in a fog. Drove past Robert's grave at Woodlawn Cemetery but couldn't stop. Couldn't tell him I was losing the land he'd left me. At 6:15 p.m., I pulled up to Cassie's house. Tyler was setting the table through the window. Cassie hugged me at the door. I stood rigid. She smelled like the $140 perfume I'd bought her last Christmas. Tyler's eyes were red. Hey, Grandma. We ate in silence. Cassie talked about the boutique, about scarves and customers. Every word felt like sandpaper. So, Mom, Cassie said, setting down her fork. Tyler's college applications are due in 3 weeks. The tuition is a lot, even with scholarships. Here it was. I know you've always said you'd help with college. We were hoping you could contribute maybe $15,000 to start? $15,000, while she planned to steal $340,000 from me. I'll think about it. Cassie's smile tightened. Mom, the deposits are due soon. Tyler stood abruptly. May I be excused? Tyler, sit down, Cassie snapped. I have homework. He left without waiting. Cassie watched him go, face flushed. Then she turned back to me. He's just stressed. You know how teenagers are. I stood. I need to use the bathroom. Down the hall, first door on the left. But I went to Cassie's office instead, second door on the right. I'd helped her paint it 3 years ago. The door was unlocked. Her desk was covered in papers, invoices, credit card statements. And there, in a manila folder labeled Property Docs, I found it. Deed Transfer Agreement. Property located at 4782 County Line Road, Toledo, Ohio. Robert's land. The signature at the bottom looked like mine, but wasn't. The B was too sharp. I always made it rounded. Next page, notary seal. Dated October 18th, 2024. 6 days ago. Notary name, Linda Marsh. Address, 2847 Sylvania Avenue. I took photos with shaking hands. Every page. Behind the deed was another document. Purchase agreement with Riverside Development LLC. Sale price, $340,000. Closing date, November 15th, 2024. 8 days away. Footsteps in the hall. I shoved the papers back. Cassie appeared in the doorway. Mom, what are you doing in here? Looking for Tylenol. My head hurts. Her eyes narrowed. The medicine cabinet is in the bathroom. I got turned around. We stared at each other. Let me get you Tylenol, she said. She handed me 2 pills and watched me swallow them. You should go home and rest. You look tired. I am tired. At the door, she said, think about Tyler's college fund. He's counting on you, Mom. I looked at her face. The child I'd nursed through chicken pox and heartbreak. When had she become this stranger? I'll think about it. I drove home, checking my phone at every red light. The photos were still there. Proof of forgery, proof of theft. Back at my apartment, I went through the photos slowly, zoomed in on the signature, the notary seal, the purchase agreement. Everything Emma said was true. Everything Tyler warned me about was happening. I thought about Marcus, probably at some motel, waiting for his cut. $240,000 to pay gambling debts. The same addiction that destroyed our marriage 15 years ago. November 2009. Cassie was 23, fresh out of college with the business degree I'd paid for. Marcus had said, I need you to quit your job. My mother needs full-time care. I'd been working at Toledo Memorial Hospital for 18 years, 3 years from my pension fully vesting. I can't quit. We need my income. What we need is for you to act like a wife for once, not some career woman who puts herself first. I'd worked double shifts for years to pay Cassie's student loans, $87,000, extra weekend shifts, missed holidays, worked until my feet bled in white orthopedic shoes, so Cassie wouldn't graduate with debt, so she could start her business free. I'm not quitting. Marcus packed his bags that night. By morning, he was gone. He'd cleaned out our joint checking account, all $8,200. He called Cassie from the road. I heard her side of the conversation. Dad, what happened? She did what? That's so selfish. She hung up and looked at me with disgust. He told me everything. How you refused to take care of Grandma Dorothy. How you chose your job over family. Cassie, that's not... Save it, Mom. I can't believe you drove him away. She barely spoke to me for 2 years. Only started again when she needed money for the boutique down payment. Marcus had poisoned her against me, and she'd believed him. Now they were stealing Robert's land together. The land he'd bought with his life insurance. The 3-2 acres he'd wanted to turn into something beautiful. When I'm gone, don't sell this land cheap, he'd said a month before the heart attack. It's worth more than money. It's worth possibility. Possibility. And they were going to steal it for $340,000. My phone buzzed. Tyler. Grandma, I'm sorry about dinner. Mom made me set it up. She's planning something bad. Please be careful. I love you. I wrote back. I know, sweetheart. I saw the papers. I have proof now. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. What are you going to do? I looked at the photos, the forged signature, the closing date, November 15th, 8 days away. I'm going to stop them. Can I help? I stared at those 3 words. Tyler, trapped in Cassie's house, monitored and controlled, asking if he could help. You already have, by trying to warn me. Thank you for being brave. I'm scared. I know, me too. But we're going to fix this. How? That was the question. How do you stop your daughter from stealing? How do you prove forgery? How do you fight people with no conscience? I opened my laptop and searched estate lawyers Toledo, Ohio. First result, Chen and Associates. David Chen specializes in elder law, estate planning, and fraud cases. 9:47 p.m., too late to call. I drafted an email. Mr. Chen, my name is Beverly Mae Langford. My daughter has forged my signature on property documents and plans to sell land that belongs to me. I have photographic evidence. The closing is scheduled for November 15th. Please call me immediately. I typed my number and hit send. Then I sat in my kitchen and thought about all the ways I'd failed to see what was right in front of me. My daughter didn't love me. Maybe she never had. Maybe I'd never been more than a wallet to her. And Robert's land was about to disappear in 8 days. Unless I could stop it. David Chen called me at 7:12 a.m. Friday morning. Mrs. Langford, I reviewed the photos you sent. We need to meet today. How soon can you get to my office? I can be there in an hour. Make it 30 minutes if you can. This is urgent. His office was on Madison Avenue, 4th floor of a brick building that smelled like old books and coffee. The receptionist, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes, showed me to a conference room. David Chen was younger than I expected. Maybe 45. Sharp suit, wire-rimmed glasses. He stood when I entered and shook my hand firmly. Mrs. Langford, thank you for coming so quickly. He gestured to a chair. I've printed your photos. Let me show you what we're dealing with. He spread the documents across the table. The forged deed, the notary seal, the purchase agreement. This signature, he pointed to my forged name, is amateur work. The B is completely wrong. Any handwriting expert would flag this immediately. Relief flooded through me. So we can stop the sale? We can. But there's more you need to know. He pulled out another document. I ran a background check on Linda Marsh, the notary. She's Cassie's college roommate from 2006. They've been friends for 18 years. My stomach dropped. So this was planned. Extensively. Mrs. Langford, your daughter didn't just forge your signature. She committed fraud using a licensed professional who could go to prison for 5 to 10 years for this. He paused. And there's something else. Marcus Holbrook. I found records showing he owes $240,000 to 3 different creditors. 2 are legitimate lenders. 1 is not. What do you mean, not legitimate? A loan shark operation out of Detroit. They've been calling his phone 63 times in the past 2 weeks. These are dangerous people, Mrs. Langford. Your ex-husband is desperate. The pieces fell together. Marcus needed money immediately. Cassie needed money for the boutique. Together, they'd forged documents to steal my land. What do we do? I asked. First, we file an injunction to stop the sale. I'll have that done by noon today. Second, we gather more evidence. I need you to get them on record admitting to the fraud, audio or video, something that shows intent. How am I supposed to do that? He opened his desk drawer and pulled out a small device, no bigger than a USB drive. Voice-activated recorder. Put it somewhere they won't find it. Let them talk. Bring me the recording. I stared at the tiny device. You want me to spy on my own daughter. I want you to protect yourself from fraud. There's a difference. His voice softened. Mrs. Langford, these people are stealing from you. Your daughter has been draining your accounts for over a year. Your ex-husband abandoned you and poisoned your relationship with your child. They don't deserve your protection. He was right, but holding that recorder felt like crossing a line I couldn't uncross. I'll do it, I said. I left his office with the recorder in my purse and a plan forming in my mind. I needed to get into Cassie's boutique when she and Marcus were both there. I needed them to feel safe enough to talk freely. I waited until Wednesday. Emma had told me Marcus came every Wednesday at 1 p.m. At 12:45, I walked into Cassie's closet carrying a gift bag. Emma was at the register. Her eyes widened when she saw me. "Mrs. Langford." "It's okay, Emma. I'm here to make peace with my daughter. Is she in?" Emma glanced toward the office door. "Yes, but I'll just be a minute." I knocked on the office door. Cassie opened it, surprise flashing across her face. "Mom, what are you doing here?" "I brought you something." I held up the gift bag. "Peace offering. I've been thinking about what you said at dinner, about Tyler's college fund. You're right. I should help more." Her expression shifted. Suspicion to hope. "Really? Really? Can we talk?" She stepped aside to let me in. The office smelled like her perfume and old paper. Her desk was cluttered with invoices and fabric samples. I set the gift bag on her desk. "It's a scarf from that shop you like. The expensive one on Sylvania." She pulled out the silk scarf. $180. I'd bought it yesterday specifically for this moment. "Mom, this is beautiful. Thank you. I'm sorry for being difficult about the money. You're right that Tyler needs help. Let me use the restroom, and then we can talk about how much I can contribute." "Of course. You know where it is." I went to the small bathroom in the back hallway. While the water ran, I pulled the recorder from my purse and activated it. Then I walked back toward the office, slowing as I passed a coat rack near the door. I slipped the recorder into the pocket of a navy jacket hanging there. Cassie's winter coat, the one she wore every day. Back in the office, Cassie was admiring the scarf in a small mirror. "This color is perfect. You always knew my taste." I tried. I sat down. "So, about Tyler's fund. I was thinking I could contribute $10,000 for the first year. Does that help?" Her face lit up. "Mom, that would be amazing. Really. Thank you." We talked for another 10 minutes about applications and deadlines. I played the role of generous mother. She played the role of grateful daughter, both of us lying. "I should go," I said finally. "I have an appointment at noon. Let me walk you out." At the door, she hugged me. I stood stiff in her arms, thinking about the recorder in her coat pocket. "Thanks for coming by, Mom. This means a lot." "Of course, sweetheart." I drove 3 blocks away and parked, checked my watch. 12:58 p.m. Marcus would arrive any minute. I waited. At 1:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Emma. He's here. They're in the office with the door closed." The recorder would catch everything. I waited until 3:30 p.m. when Emma texted again. "They just left together." She hung her coat up like always. I drove back to the boutique. Emma let me in through the back door. "Is anyone else here?" "Just us." Cassie went to the bank with him. I went to the coat rack and retrieved the recorder from the navy jacket pocket. My hands shook as I checked it. 2 hours and 14 minutes recorded. "Thank you, Emma, for everything. Are you going to be okay, Mrs. Langford?" "I hope so." Back in my car, I plugged the recorder into my laptop, put in earbuds, pressed play. The first 30 minutes were ambient noise, footsteps, the bell on the boutique door, Cassie talking to customers. Then, at timestamp 031:47, a male voice. "Marcus. Hey, baby girl, sorry I'm late." "Dad, close the door. We need to talk." A door closing. Then Cassie's voice, tense and urgent. "Mom came by earlier. Brought me a $180 scarf and said she wants to give Tyler $10,000 for college. So? That's good, right?" "No, it's suspicious. She's been weird since last week. I think she knows something." My heart pounded. "She can't know anything," Marcus said. "We've been careful." "I don't know, Dad. She was acting strange at dinner. And she went into my office supposedly looking for Tylenol." "Did you leave the property documents out?" "No, they were in the folder. But what if she saw them?" Silence. Then Marcus. "We move up the timeline. Call the developer. Tell them we want to close this Friday instead of next week." "This Friday? That's in 2 days. Can we even do that?" "We have to. If Beverly knows, she'll try to stop us. Once that land is sold and the money is in our accounts, there's nothing she can do about it." "What about Tyler? He's been acting weird too." "Tyler is a kid. He'll fall in line." Cassie's voice dropped lower. "What if Mom tries to fight this legally?" "With what proof? Your signature is on all the account withdrawals. Linda notarized the deed transfer. Everything looks legitimate. By the time any lawyer figures out what happened, we'll have the money." I'll pay off my debts, you'll save your boutique, and we'll never have to deal with your mother again. God, I can't wait for that day. Marcus laughed. Your mother always was too trusting. Remember when I left? She actually believed I was going to Denver. I was 10 miles away in a motel for 3 months. You were? Yeah. I needed to disappear so she couldn't track me down for money. Best decision I ever made. Gave me time to think. Time to plan. Plan what? This. Coming back. Finding you. Getting what I deserve. His voice turned cold. Your mother took everything from me. My house. My dignity. She chose her stupid job over our family. Well, now it's her turn to lose something. She deserves it, Cassie said. She does. And you know what the best part is? She'll never see it coming. She thinks you love her. She thinks she's helping Tyler by giving him college money. She has no idea that the second we get that $340,000, you're cutting her off completely. Completely, Cassie agreed. I'm done pretending to care. The recording continued for another hour. They discussed the developer, the closing, how they'd split the money. Marcus would pay his $240,000 debt. Cassie would put $80,000 into the boutique. They'd split the remaining $20,000 for expenses. They talked about me like I was already dead. At timestamp 2:03:15, Marcus said something that made me stop the recording and rewind. By the way, I got a call from Eddie this morning, the guy I owe the $90,000 to. The Detroit one. What did he say? He said if I don't pay by November 20th, there will be consequences. He was very specific about what those consequences would be. Jesus, Dad. That's 8 days away. I know. That's why we're moving the closing up. I need that money now, Cassie. Not next week. Now. They were more desperate than I thought. And desperate people made mistakes. I saved the recording to 3 different locations. My laptop, a USB drive, the cloud. Then I called David Chen. I have it, I said. 2 hours of them admitting everything. Bring it to my office, now. David Chen filed the injunction Thursday morning. By noon, the sale was legally frozen. Riverside Development received notice. Linda Marsh, the notary, received a subpoena. Now we wait, Chen said over the phone. They'll find out about the injunction by end of day. That's when they'll panic. What do I do? Nothing. Let them come to you. And when they do, record everything. But I didn't want to wait. I wanted to face them. To watch their faces when they realized they'd lost. Friday morning, I saw the invitation on Cassie's boutique Facebook page. Spring Collection Preview Event, Friday, November 10th, 6:09 p.m. Wine, appetizers, and exclusive first look at our new arrivals. Bring friends. 40 people had RSVP'd, including several members of the Toledo Business Women's Association, the mayor's wife, 3 city council members. Perfect. I called Chen. I'm going to the boutique event tonight. Mrs. Langford, I'm going, and I want you there. With the police. Silence. Then, you're sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything. I'll make the calls. I arrived at Cassie's closet at 6:47 p.m. The boutique was packed. Women in expensive dresses sipped wine from plastic cups. Racks of spring clothing lined the walls. Cassie wore a cream silk blouse and black pants, her hair pulled back. She looked successful, confident. She saw me and froze, then recovered, smile plastered on. Mom, you came. I wouldn't miss it. Tyler was in the corner, arranging a display of scarves. He looked sick. Our eyes met. He looked away quickly. Marcus wasn't there yet. I checked my watch. 6:51 p.m. I accepted a glass of wine from Emma, who looked terrified. I gave her a small nod. It's okay. At 7:03 p.m., Marcus walked in through the back entrance. He wore a leather jacket and jeans. His Seiko watch caught the light. He saw me immediately. His face went pale. He crossed to Cassie and whispered something urgent. She glanced at me, then back at him. Shook her head. He grabbed her arm. She pulled away. The guests didn't notice. They were too busy browsing and chatting. At 7:15 p.m., David Chen walked in. He wore a gray suit and carried a briefcase. Behind him, 2 police officers in uniform. The room went quiet. Cassie's smile disappeared. Mom, What's going on? I think we should talk, I said loudly, in front of everyone. This isn't the time. It's exactly the time. I turned to face the crowd. 40 women, all watching. I want everyone here to witness this. My name is Beverly Mae Langford. This is my daughter, Cassandra. And that man in the leather jacket is my ex-husband, Marcus Holbrook. Marcus moved toward the back door. One of the police officers stepped in front of it. For the past 8 months, I continued, my voice steady, my daughter and ex-husband have been conspiring to steal property that belongs to me. Land worth $340,000 that my late husband left me. They forged my signature on deed transfer documents. They plan to sell it and split the money. Gasps from the crowd. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Cassie's face went red. "Mom, you're embarrassing yourself. You don't know what you're talking about." "Don't I?" I pulled out my phone. "Mr. Chen, would you like to play the recording?" Chen took my phone and connected it to a portable speaker he'd brought. The boutique had excellent acoustics. Marcus's voice filled the room. "We move up the timeline. Call the developer. Tell them we want to close this Friday instead of next week." Then Cassie, "This Friday? That's in 2 days. We have to. If Beverly knows, she'll try to stop us. Once that land is sold and the money is in our accounts, there's nothing she can do about it." I watched the faces in the crowd. Shock. Disgust. The mayor's wife put down her wine glass and crossed her arms. The recording continued. "Your mother always was too trusting. God, I can't wait for that day." Cassie's voice, bright with anticipation. Marcus laughing. "The second we get that $340,000, you're cutting her off completely. Completely. I'm done pretending to care." Chen stopped the recording. The silence was absolute. Cassie's face had gone from red to white. "That's not... You can't just... That's not what?" I asked. "Not your voice? Not your plan? Which part is the lie, Cassandra?" Marcus moved toward Cassie. "Don't say anything. They can't prove..." "We can prove everything," Chen interrupted. He opened his briefcase and pulled out documents. Forged deed transfer, notarized by Linda Marsh, who happens to be your college roommate, Ms. Langford. Purchase agreement with Riverside Development. And as of this morning, a court injunction freezing the sale. Marcus turned and ran. He made it 3 steps before one officer grabbed his arm. "Sir, you need to stay right here." "This is insane," Cassie shouted. "Mom, tell them this is a misunderstanding." "It's not a misunderstanding. You stole from me. You've been stealing from me for over a year. $14,800 from our joint account. Small amounts you thought I wouldn't notice." Tyler dropped the scarf he was holding. It landed on the floor in a puddle of blue silk. His face had gone gray. "And you," I turned to him, "tried to warn me, didn't you, Tyler?" He nodded slowly. Tears started running down his face. "What are you talking about?" Cassie demanded. "The emails," I said. 3 emails Tyler tried to send me, warning me about what you and Marcus were doing, but you deleted them before they could go through. You monitored his phone. You controlled him. Tyler made a sound. Not quite a sob. Not quite a scream. Then he bent over and vomited on the boutique floor. The crowd stepped back. Someone said, "Jesus." Tyler wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. When he straightened, his face was twisted with anguish. "I tried," he shouted at Cassie. "I tried to tell her. 3 times. But you deleted everything. You told me Grandma was toxic, that she'd ruin our lives if I warned her." "Tyler, shut up." "No." He was crying openly now. "You lied about everything. Grandma never did anything wrong. She worked her whole life to pay for your college. She helped you buy this store, and you just... He couldn't finish. He doubled over again, but nothing came up. One of the guests, a woman in her 60s, went to him and put her hand on his shoulder. "It's okay, sweetheart. You're okay." She said Grandma was suffocating. Tyler continued through sobs. She said Grandma drove Grandpa away by being selfish. But that was all lies, wasn't it? Grandpa left because he was a gambler, and Grandma wouldn't quit her job to take care of his mother. I nodded. "That's the truth." "I'm so sorry, Grandma. I'm so sorry I didn't try harder." Cassie's mouth opened and closed. No words came out. She looked around the room at 40 faces staring at her with contempt. At Marcus, restrained by a police officer. At her son, crying on the floor. At me. "You did this. she finally said to me. You ruined everything. No, I replied. You ruined it yourself. The moment you decided to steal from me. The moment you forged my name. The moment you lied to your son. Chen stepped forward. Officers, I believe we have enough evidence to make an arrest. The second officer moved toward Cassie. Ma'am, we need you to come with us. For what? I didn't do anything illegal. That was a joint account. I had every right. Forgery, fraud, conspiracy to commit theft. Would you like me to continue? Cassie looked at Marcus. Tell them this was your idea. Marcus's face hardened. My idea? You're the one who forged the signature. You're the one who contacted Linda. I was helping my daughter. You're lying, Cassie screamed. You came to me. You said we could make this work. You said Mom would never find out. And just like that, they turned on each other. The officer pulled out handcuffs. Ms. Langford, please turn around. Mom, Tyler said from the floor. His voice was small, broken. Don't let them take her. I looked at him. At this boy I'd helped raise, who'd tried to save me but couldn't. I'm sorry, Tyler, but your mother made her choices. The officer cuffed Cassie. She started crying. Real tears, finally. Please, Mom, please don't do this. I'll pay you back. I'll fix everything. You can't fix this. They led her toward the door. Marcus had already been escorted out. The guests stood frozen. The mayor's wife approached me. Mrs. Langford, I had no idea. If there's anything you need, thank you. But I'm fine. Tyler stood up slowly. The woman who'd comforted him stepped back. He looked at me with red, swollen eyes. Can I come home with you? Home? To your apartment. I can't stay in her house. Please, Grandma. I looked at this broken boy. Not a child anymore. Not quite a man. Just someone who'd tried to do the right thing and failed. Get your things, I said. 18 months after the spring collection event, I stood in courtroom 4B of the Lucas County Courthouse for the sentencing hearing. Marcus went first. Judge Patricia Morrison read from her notes. Mr. Holbrook, you have been found guilty of conspiracy to commit fraud, forgery, and attempted theft of property valued at $340,000. You exploited your relationship with your daughter to defraud your ex-wife, a woman who supported your family for decades. Marcus stood in an orange jumpsuit. He'd lost weight. His Seiko watch was gone, confiscated as evidence. I sentence you to 8 years in the Ohio State Penitentiary. No possibility of parole for the first 4 years. 8 years. He'd be 50 when he got out, if he survived that long. David Chen leaned over and whispered, his loan shark creditors found out where he's being held. Word is they've paid some inmates to make his stay uncomfortable. I didn't feel satisfaction, just emptiness. Cassie's sentencing came next. Ms. Langford, you forged your mother's signature. You stole from joint accounts. You conspired with a licensed notary to commit fraud. Your own son tried to stop you, and you silenced him. Judge Morrison's voice was cold. 6 years in the Ohio Reformatory for Women. Cassie started crying. Please, Your Honor. My son needs me. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. You had many opportunities to make different choices. You chose greed every time. 6 years. They let her out. She looked at me once. I looked away. Linda Marsh, the notary, got 4 years and lost her professional license permanently. She'd never work in legal services again. David Chen told me she'd been struggling to find any job. Even fast food restaurants rejected her once they saw her record. The boutique closed 3 weeks after Cassie's arrest. The landlord found $47,000 in unpaid vendor bills. Everything was liquidated. The spring collection sold for pennies at a bankruptcy auction. Emma got a job at Macy's. She sent me a card thanking me for the recommendation letter I'd written. Tyler moved into my apartment the night of the arrests. He slept on my couch for 2 weeks before I converted the spare room into his bedroom. We painted it together, gray walls. His choice. He started therapy 3 times a week. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a specialist in family trauma. Some days he'd come home from sessions quiet. Other days he'd talk for hours about everything Cassie had told him growing up. All the lies about me. She said you were controlling, he told me one night over dinner. That you tried to run her life. that Grandpa Marcus left because you were impossible to live with. None of that was true. I know that now. He pushed pasta around his plate. I'm so sorry I believed her, Grandma. You were a child. Children believe their parents. I'm 18. I should have known better. Tyler, you tried to warn me 3 times. You did know better. Your mother just made it impossible for you to act on it. He cried that night. I held him like I used to when he was small and had nightmares. In January, Tyler applied to Toledo Community College, nursing program, 2-year degree to become an RN. You inspired me, he said when he showed me the application. All those stories about your shifts at the hospital, how you helped people. I want to do that. He got accepted in March. I sold Robert's land in February. Not to Riverside Development. They'd pulled out after the legal trouble. Instead, I sold to a conservation trust for $385,000. They planned to keep it as protected wetland. No development, no parking lots. Robert would have liked that. I used the money to travel, 6 months across Europe, Italy, France, Spain, Germany. I stayed in small hotels and ate at local restaurants. I saw the Sistine Chapel and the Eiffel Tower and the Alhambra. Tyler came with me for 3 weeks in June. We visited Florence and Venice. He took hundreds of photos. We ate gelato and walked along canals and didn't talk about Cassie once. When we got back to Toledo, Tyler did something that surprised me. He went to the courthouse and filed for a legal name change. Tyler Langford Roberts, he said, showing me the papers. To honor Robert, the grandfather I never got to meet but who you always said was a good man. He was the best man I ever knew. Then I want his name. I don't want to just be a Langford anymore. The change went through in September. I attended his nursing school orientation in August, sat in the auditorium with other proud parents and grandparents. Tyler wore his Ohio State hoodie and took notes during every presentation. That night, he said, "Thank you for believing in me. Even after everything. You're my grandson. I'll always believe in you." In October, a letter arrived. Prison mail, from Cassie. I stared at the envelope for 3 days before opening it. "Mom," it began, "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need you to know I'm sorry. I was greedy and stupid and cruel. I destroyed our family for money I never even got. Tyler won't answer my letters. Please tell him I love him. Please tell him I never meant to hurt anyone. I just wanted to save the boutique. I just wanted to make Dad proud. The other inmates found out what I did. They call me the mother thief. No one will talk to me. I sit alone at meals. I can't sleep. I have panic attacks. The doctor here says I have depression. They put me on medication, but it doesn't help. Please come visit. Please bring Tyler. I need to see you both. I need to explain. Love, Cassie." I read it twice. Then I called Tyler into the kitchen. "Your mother sent a letter." I handed it to him. He read it standing up. His jaw tightened. When he finished, he set it on the table. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to read it to you out loud, so you know exactly what she said." I read every word. Tyler listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "She wants us to feel sorry for her. Yes. She wants us to visit. Yes. Are we going to?" I looked at my grandson, Tyler Langford Roberts, 18 years old, second semester nursing student, the boy who'd tried to save me even when it cost him everything. "No," I said. "We're not." "Good." He picked up the letter. "Can I say something?" "Of course. She's not my mother anymore. You are. You're the one who took me in. You're the one who paid for therapy. You're the one who believes in me. She's just the woman who gave birth to me and then tried to destroy you." I felt tears in my eyes. "Tyler, I mean it, Grandma. You're my real family, not her." I took the letter from his hands and tore it in half, then in quarters, then into tiny pieces. I threw them in the trash without responding to Cassie. We never spoke of the letter again. Marcus wrote too. 3 letters over 4 months. I burned them all without reading them. In November, 1 year after the confrontation, Tyler and I visited Robert's grave at Woodlawn Cemetery. I brought white roses. Tyler brought a photo he'd taken in Venice, a canal at sunset. We stood at the headstone. Robert James Langford, 1951-2021, beloved husband. "I wish I'd met him," Tyler said. "He would have loved you. He always wanted grandchildren." "Tell me about him?" So I did. I told Tyler about how Robert and I met at a hospital fundraiser in 2012, how he'd asked me to dance even though he had 2 left feet, how he'd proposed on a Tuesday morning over scrambled eggs because he said he couldn't wait for a fancy moment. "He sounds nothing like Marcus," Tyler said. "He was everything Marcus wasn't. Kind, honest, patient." "Did you love him?" "Very much." "Do you miss him?" "Every day." Tyler put his arm around my shoulders. "I'm glad you had him, Grandma. Even if it was only for 9 years. Everyone deserves someone who loves them like that." We stood there for a long time. The November wind was cold. Leaves blew across the cemetery. Somewhere, a crow called. "Grandma?" Tyler said finally. "Yes? Do you think you'll ever forgive Mom?" I thought about that question, about Cassie sitting alone in prison, about her depression and panic attacks and isolation, about the daughter I'd raised and the stranger she'd become. "No," I said. "Some betrayals are too deep. Some people steal more than money. They steal trust, love, years of your life. Your mother took all of that from me and never looked back. Forgiveness would be a gift she doesn't deserve." "I feel the same way," Tyler said quietly. We put the roses and photo by Robert's headstone. Then we walked back to my car together. That night, Tyler cooked dinner. Spaghetti carbonara from a recipe he'd learned in Italy. We ate at my small kitchen table and talked about his classes, about his friends, about the future. He was going to graduate in 2 years, get his RN license, maybe work at Toledo Memorial Hospital, the same place I'd worked for 18 years. My daughter was in prison. My ex-husband was in prison. The notary who helped them was in prison. The boutique was gone. The conspiracy was over. And I was free. Tyler was free. We'd rebuilt our lives from the ashes of betrayal, just the 2 of us. The grandmother who'd refused to be a victim. The grandson who'd chosen the right side even when it was hard. Some families are born, some families are chosen. Tyler and I chose each other. And that was enough.